Hey everybody, ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. Well, today we're going to tackle one of literature's most iconic figures, Frankenstein's creature.
Oh, yes.
But we're not just here for like the surface level horror, right?
Right.
We're going beyond the monster myth.
Yeah.
To really try and understand the being underneath, we're going deep. And to guide us, we've got excerpts straight from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Part 6.
Okay.
And, of course, insights from literary expert.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So
Yeah.
let's start with this. I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We often just label the creature a monster, but
Yeah.
what if his story is really about something we all crave? Connection.
I think that's a great place to start because you're right.
Right.
Like we often, when you think about Frankenstein, you think about the monster. But if we really look at the text and what Mary Shelley's doing here, I think you're right. It's this yearning for connection.
Right. And I mean, think about it. This creature cobbled together from who knows what.
Yeah.
Starts off driven by kindness. He even saves a human life early on. He's not born a monster, is he?
Yeah. No, he's not. And I think, this really makes you question, like, how much of our behavior is truly innate versus shaped by experience.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Imagine being thrust into a world.
Oh, yeah.
That recoils from you in terror.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's a fascinating.
Like, how could you not be impacted by that?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this constant rejection. And Shelley doesn't shy away from showing us that pain. There's this gun-wrenching line where he vows eternal hatred and vengeance to all mankind after, brutal rejection.
Yeah. And that's a pivotal moment, page 125 for those following along. It's like the treater pushed to the brink has this internal dam break, right?
Yeah.
All that inherent goodness gets twisted by the cruelty he's faced. And it's just a reminder, I think, for all of us that anyone pushed too far can become what they're feared to be.
It's almost Shakespearean, isn't it? This like internal struggle between his like inherent nature and the monster society is molding him into.
Totally.
So interesting. And so from this despair, right, it's a desperate plea, the creature demands that Victor create a female companion for him.
Right.
Okay. So on the surface, it just seems like he just wants a mate, right?
Yeah.
But do you think there's something more driving him?
Absolutely. I think so. I think we have to remember how Shelley describes his existence, right? She calls it forced solitude. He's not just lonely. He's utterly alone.
Wow.
In his experience. No one to relate to, no one who understands what it's like to be him.
Right. And he even believes that a companion, someone who shares his monstrosity, as he puts it, would break that isolation. He even says, we shall be more attached to one another because of that shared difference.
Right.
It makes you wonder, is he onto something?
Yeah.
Can our differences actually be the foundation for a deeper connection?
That's a really great question.
Right.
Yeah. It challenges our assumptions, right, about what draws people together.
Totally, yeah.
Do we seek sameness? Or can those very things that set us apart be the bridge to true understanding? Right? It's just a really powerful question.
But of course, Victor's reaction to this demand is, well, not exactly enthusiastic. Suddenly he's grappling with the ethics of creating another being.
Right.
And it's interesting, right? Because Victor's having a delayed conscience attack, but the text suggests, to me at least, that he's more scared of what this female creature might do than truly understanding the depths of the creature's loneliness.
It's interesting, because it does seem like Victor's having almost a delayed reaction to all of this. All right, like suddenly, I've created this, but now what if I create another one?
Yeah. And he even has this cheering thought. She also might turn with disgust from him.
Right.
It's like he's completely missing the point of the creature's plea.
He is. He's totally missing the point. And this lack of empathy has some devastating consequences.
Yes, because the creature feeling totally betrayed and hopeless.
Right.
He doesn't exactly take it well. He lashes out. He targets Victor's loved ones.
Yeah. And it's such a brutal act. But it's driven by despair as much as rage.
Oh,
right?
Totally.
Like the creature wants Victor to feel his pain, to experience the profound isolation that has driven him to this point. Right. So it's just...
It's heavy.
Really?
Heavy, yeah. And it makes you think about that whole revenge is a dish best served cold thing.
Right.
Is revenge ever truly satisfying, or does it just perpetuate a cycle of pain?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? It's rarely about satisfaction, though, you know?
Right.
I think this desire for retribution, it often masks deeper wounds, unresolved pain.
Yeah,
It's just this cautionary tale as old as time, you know?
it's true.
But one we seem to keep repeating.
Yeah, over and over them. And in Victor's case, his reaction to this tragedy is, well, to put it mildly, intense.
Yeah.
He's consumed by guilt. And he sets off on this relentless pursuit of the creature. It's like he's driven by something beyond just anger, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think this is where survivor's guilt comes into play. It's this powerful psychological phenomenon that can drive both heroic and destructive actions.
Okay, wait. Explain that a little bit. Survivor's guilt. What does that actually mean?
Sure. Essentially, it's the feeling that you should have done more to prevent the loss of others, even if it was outside of your control.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's this heavy burden to carry, often leading to feelings of intense responsibility and, yes, guilt.
Oh, okay. So Victor's chasing the creature not just for revenge, but because he's eaten up by guilt over what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like he feels responsible for the deaths that the creature caused, even though, well, he didn't force him to do it.
Exactly.
That's so interesting.
And this guilt, it becomes an obsession.
Wow.
Right? It pushes him to the edge of the world in pursuit of the creature.
Wow. But here's where it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
The creature actually helps Victor on this chase.
What?
Yeah, he leaves clues. It's almost like he's guiding Victor toward him.
Interesting. So he's almost orchestrating his own demise.
Yeah.
And that's where we'll pick up in the next part of our dive.
Yes.
Because it begs the question, why? Why would the creature seemingly orchestrate his own demise? What's really going on in his mind?
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to find out. So last time we left off Victor's on this like frantic chase after the creature, consumed by like guilt and grief.
Right.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
The creature is practically leading him on this pursuit, like leaving clues, guiding him. Why would he do that? It doesn't make sense.
Well, I think we need to go back to what we were talking about earlier, right?
Okay.
With the creature craving understanding.
Right.
So maybe in this kind of twisted way, he wants Victor to, to walk a mile in his shoes.
Huh.
To experience that relentless pursuit, the isolation.
So it's not just about revenge. It's
Right.
about making Victor feel what he's been feeling all along.
Exactly. It's like this warped form of empathy, right?
Wow.
Like forcing Victor to confront the consequences of his actions, to share in his suffering. It's almost like he's saying, you created me, you abandoned me, and now you have to face the repercussions.
That's intense. It's like this whole chase. It's like this twisted mirror.
Yes.
Reflecting their like shared pain and isolation back at each other.
Exactly.
So interesting.
And remember,
Yeah.
Victor's actions are fueled by guilt,
Right.
which is a feeling that the creature explicitly wants him to experience.
Wow.
So, it's this fascinating psychological dance that they're engaged in.
Totally. But this chase, this quest for whatever it is they're both seeking, it doesn't exactly have a happy ending, does it?
Tragically, no. Victor, driven to his limits physically, emotionally, he dies before he can actually catch the creature. Imagine devoting your life to chasing a ghost.
Oh, yeah.
Only to succumb to the very weight of the chase itself.
That's heavy. And then there's the creature. He gets his revenge, but at what cost? Shelley's description of him in those final moments is chilling. He says, I shall die, consumed to ashes, this miserable frame. It's on page 188 if you want to really feel the weight of that despair.
It's heartbreaking. Like, he's achieved what he set out to do, yet he finds no solace, no satisfaction. It begs the question, what did he truly gain?
It's like that saying, be careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah.
He wanted Victor to understand his pain, but now he's lost the only being who ever had a chance of truly knowing him.
Yeah, he's utterly alone, facing an eternity with the weight of his actions and the burden of his unique, monstrous existence. And, this kind of echoes a theme that Shelley explores in her short story, The Mortal Immortal.
Oh, okay.
Where, the main character is granted eternal life, but comes to see it as a curse.
Oh, wow.
And there's this line where he laments, I was then immortal. But the story highlights the profound loneliness that comes with it.
You're right. I remember that story. This guy's basically watching everyone he knows and loves age and die while he just remains the same. It's like the creature's facing a similar fate. This never-ending existence with no connection, no reprieve.
And that's what makes his ending so tragic. Like his immortality, his very being, becomes a prison,
Yeah.
a constant reminder of his isolation and the terrible things he's done.
Wow. So we have this creature born of both like scientific brilliance and, let's be honest, some serious hubris on Victor's part.
Yeah.
He desires connection, love, but he faces constant rejection and fear. Driven to desperation, he seeks revenge, only to find himself even more isolated and alone. Talk about a trad figure.
It's a classic tragedy, isn't it? Like this being who yearns for acceptance ultimately becomes the monster that society perceives him to be. So it raises this huge question. Was the creature inherently evil, or was he a product of the circumstances he was thrown into?
Right. That's a question that's stuck with readers for centuries, and it's something I want you to consider as we move into the final part of our dive.
Okay.
Was Frankenstein's creature truly a monster, or was he simply a victim of a cruel and unforgiving world?
Right.
Yeah, and it's like Shelley's holding up this mirror to humanity, right?
Yeah.
Making us confront our own biases and how we treat those who are different.
Right.
I mean, we fear what we don't understand, and that fear can turn into something really ugly.
Absolutely. And, it's like the creature's story is this powerful indictment
Yeah.
of prejudice and how, fear and ignorance can just completely dehumanize others.
Totally. And it's not a new idea, right?
Yeah.
Like, think about
It's been around forever.
how this theme plays out in other stories, too, like To Kill a Mockingbird, or even like the
Yeah.
X-Men comics.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's this recurring idea.
Yeah,
That difference is often met with, like, fear and rejection.
absolutely. And, that brings up, I
Yeah.
think, a really crucial point about the responsibility
Yeah.
creators have towards their creations.
Ah.
Victor, in his ambition, he creates life,
Uh-huh.
but then abandons it.
Yeah.
He leaves the creature to fend for himself in a world that's hostile and terrifying.
And it's a theme that's, like, incredibly relevant today, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Especially with all the advancements in AI.
Especially,
As we create these increasingly complex machines that are capable of, like, learning and evolving,
yeah.
where does our responsibility lie? Like, do they deserve empathy, guidance, protection?
I mean, it's a huge question, right? And it makes you think, like,
Yeah.
if we create something, shouldn't we consider
Yeah.
the consequences of that creation?
Oh, totally. Like, the creature's tragic fate is like this
Yes.
warning almost about unchecked ambition and the importance of, like, ethical considerations
Right.
in everything we create.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that innovation without compassion
Yeah.
can have just devastating consequences.
Right.
We can't just bring something into being and then wash our hands of the responsibility that comes with it.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into, like, the heart of Frankenstein's creature,
Yeah.
we're left with this feeling of, like, tragedy, but also this, like, renewed awareness of our own humanity and the need for empathy and understanding.
I think you're right. The creature story, it's timeless, right? Like, it reminds us that even in, our darkest moments, we're capable of both immense good and terrible evil. And the choices we make have the power to shape not only our own destinies, but the destinies of those around us as well.
That's a powerful takeaway. So as you go forth from this deep dive,
Yeah?
I want to leave you with this one final thought. What responsibility do we as creators, as innovators, as human beings have towards the beings we bring into this world? It's something worth pondering, maybe even more so today than in Shelley's time. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.